Hey everybody, it's Got the Waz's cousin on Lexapro. Minecraft is a quiet game. It's strangely strange to think about it that way. For the past decade, this game has been drenched in online noise. It's a bustling cultural hub for content creation and other business. But when you actually start it up and load into a world, well, even when you're swarmed with enemies, I wouldn't call it high octane. Music in this game is almost purely ambient. It's not sympathetic to particular situations. There's no jingle that plays when you get into combat, when you're riding a horse, when you enter a village, or when you're close to death. It's only loyal to the game's world. It especially reacts to the time of day, which serves a gameplay purpose, signifying to the player that the day is changing phase, which can be helpful if their mind is preoccupied with a task. I think that's a very powerful thing. Minecraft uses music to provide the player with moments of mindfulness. The game demands the player to keep a lot of mental notes. There's no quest guide in this game, and there's a lot of stuff to do. So the player spends a lot of time stuck in their head, thinking long-term about goals they want to achieve, and short-term about strategic decisions they need to make, like what tasks need to be done and what resources are needed for them. Plus they need to think about immediate things like enemy encounters and their characters' survival needs. It's easy to get lost in thought while playing Minecraft, but the game's soundtrack excels at waking you up and giving you an excuse to pay attention to the world outside your head. Just look and listen. That's life. Minecraft is about life. At a basic technical level, Minecraft goes to great lengths to crush the human experience down into an exe and sell it on Minecraft.net. It's literally a life simulation game. This game popularized a lot of game design tropes to the point where there's now a genre of open world survival crafting games, but I still think Minecraft is maybe the best to do it. Its design and appearance are deceptively simple, all the systems are interconnected, and every object has meaning. What I mean is, everything, even something like dirt, has its own unique traits and has some sort of a relationship with everything else. Meanwhile, in other games, the environments tend to be static illusions. In this game, for example, this tree is nothing like a tree. It just looks like one. Functionally, it's a pole sticking out of the ground. Your avatar can collide with it and your bullets can't pass through it, but it has no characteristics aside from that. It means the exact same thing as the walls, floors, and ceilings. It's an illusion of a tree and nothing more. In Minecraft, the thing we call a tree looks a lot less like a real-life tree, but it behaves much more like one because it has special meaning within the game that's more similar to the meaning a tree has in real life. Let me run through some of the characteristics of trees in Minecraft and how those characteristics feed into other parts of the game. You can place down a sapling and after a while it'll grow into a tree. Then you can break and collect the tree's blocks and place them wherever you like. Or you can process the blocks through one of the game's other systems. You can craft the logs into planks and place those wherever you like, or you can craft them into other items like tools or boats. Or you can use them as fuel in the game's smelting system, where you can turn extra logs into charcoal, which can be used to build campfires, which can be used to collect honey, which can be used to make food, tying into the game's survival system, etc., etc., etc. Everything has meaning and everything is connected. Even if you leave the tree alone and just watch it for a while, maybe a thunderstorm will spontaneously begin, and lightning will strike it, which would create fire blocks, and since wood and leaf blocks are flammable, the fire can delete them, and it's likely to survive longer and spread because flammable blocks fuel it. Don't worry too much though, because the rain from the thunderstorm can put the fire out before there's too much damage. Everything has meaning, everything is connected. Something else I want to point out is that this game is made of blocks. I only just figured that out recently. This game is often compared to Lego block toys, which is fitting because Lego has a core design philosophy called the Lego system, which means that all elements fit together, can be used in multiple ways, and can be built together. Not only does every part of Minecraft have a symbiotic relationship with every other part, but it all operates neatly in a grid system, so each block in this world takes up a consistent unit of space. This system is really simple and easy to understand, but it's also pretty powerful. The player has a collection of basic little blocks, but can create an infinite number of things. This system, along with the lo-fi blocky graphics, allows the player to create basically anything they want. Granted, imagination is sometimes needed to fill in the details. It also makes the simulations taking place in this game easy to process and render, even on weak hardware. Plus, I imagine it makes it simpler for the game's random terrain generation to spit out something convincing, just another concept this game popularized. Worlds that can run 383 blocks deep and spread out infinitely, and all of that land is 100% interactive. The only objects I can think of that aren't explicitly interactive are things in the sky, like clouds, the sun, the moon, and the stars. Basically, the point of me rattling off all of these game design choices is to establish what Minecraft means to me. It's a simple but deep simulation of life. It takes our world, a lot of its fundamentals, and the human experience in general, and gamifies it, miniaturizes it. Seeing Minecraft in this way, as a miniature representation of life as a whole, is crucial to understanding it as a piece of art, especially its ending. Now, the interesting thing about Minecraft's ending is how out of place and contrived it is. I would bet a majority of players have never quote-unquote completed this game and don't care to either. And that makes sense. Why should Minecraft have an ending? After all, it barely has a beginning. You start your world and your character appears. That's all you have to go off. There's no force pushing you to seek out some ending to this game that's designed to never end. I myself have been playing this game for over half my life, and I only just beat it proper about a year ago. When I did, I absolutely felt all sorts of emotions as the credits rolled, but once they were done, my character respawned in their bed, and I went on building stuff or picking flowers or whatever I got up to. The ending of Minecraft is basically arbitrary. And the crazy thing is that I think that's intentional. When you look at it a certain way, this quote-unquote ending feels more like a satire of endings in general. It happens in a place literally called the End. The monsters you have to fight to find the End are called Endermen, a portmanteau of End and Slenderman, the monster from internet literature, basically a pun. And the final boss is called the Ender Dragon. Even the idea of fighting a dragon to beat the game feels tongue-in-cheek. Slaying a dragon is basically shorthand for how to end a story. It's cliché. There's not even really any clear reason why this dragon must be slain, because Minecraft doesn't have any script motivating you to do it. You just do it because that's how you beat the game, and once it's done, nothing changes. These things purposely call attention to how contrived it is for this game to have an ending. I think the creators are making a point about endings in stories in general, and to understand what they're getting at, we need to explore the end poem. After you defeat the dragon, a portal appears, which transfers you to a crawling credits screen prefaced by the poem. It features two speakers, each represented by a different color of text, talking to each other and addressing the player directly. They claim to be the universe itself, communicating to you through words on the screen, and they talk about the meaning of life, and art, and existence, and all that stuff you think about while farming carrots in this game. I think the most important takeaway from this poem is an analogy they make between games and other forms of art and life itself. They say games are small dreams nested within the long dream of life. They're miniature representations of the greater whole, and they help us learn about that greater whole in a digestible way. I first want to clarify that that's what I think the end is to Minecraft. It's just another story, another dream, within the larger dream of this game. That's why it doesn't really function like an ending, and it's also why your character literally wakes up after the credits conclude. But this analogy runs way deeper. It puts into perspective what the point of art is, and even reflects on what the point of life is. As the speakers put it, stories can contain the truth about the meaning of life safely in a cage of words. Pieces of art, especially ones like Minecraft, could be seen as miniature lives. They let us live and learn more about life vicariously in a safe, contained environment. But even more important is what this analogy implies about life. If Minecraft is a diorama of life as a human, then life as a human is just a diorama of what it's like to be not alive. To put it another way, Minecraft Steve is an avatar of the player, made from code and electricity, as the player is an avatar of the universe itself, made from carbon and other pieces of matter. Life is just one long dream. Really, it's a short dream in the grand scheme of existence itself. Before you were born, you were a collection of matter, and maybe a spirit, depending on what you believe, for billions of years, and the same will be true for trillions of years after you're gone. There's not really much difference before and after. You're only someone for a very small amount of time. I actually think this is a comforting conclusion to arrive at, and I imagine it's vague enough to be compatible with most concepts of the great beyond, as secular or as spiritual as they might be. Julian Goff, writer of the end poem, seems vaguely spiritual, but even he says in his blog post about the poem that you can interpret the universe and the speakers in the poem who represent it in whatever way makes sense. The speakers are also careful not to tell you what'll happen once the long dream is over and you finally wake up. Maybe that's what makes the idea of mortality scary, the idea that there could be nothing. But the speakers imply that whatever comes after is something optimistic, even if it's not specifically an afterlife. As they say, the universe is kind, and the universe said, "I love you because you are love." Minecraft is a quiet game, and a simple one. It's so open-ended, one can take whatever meaning they want from it. Maybe you think my head is a huge bag of hot air after seeing this, and maybe you're right. Who knows? I appreciate you watching to the end regardless. If you get nothing else out of this video, just take this reminder. You're alive, and you won't be forever. So while you're here, take a moment and put away your thoughts. Look around, see the sights, hear the sounds, and feel. It's only so long until you have to log off, so why don't you build something great?